Buckingham,
a couple of times
Buckingham
in
Palace.
the last 24
Buckingham
hours. He said
Palace.
he was a decent, public, spirited man.
Yeah.
And essentially wished him luck.
Buckingham
Such a different
Palace,
tone to the campaign. What did you make of it?
Completely different
where
tone. It
the
picked up, didn't
the
it, on what we
king
heard
living.
from the soon-to-be former
So the
Prime
Prime Minister is
Minister
coming out
in
to
the
come and resign.
Netherlands when he conceded defeat and said he'd already spoken to Keir
Buckingham,
Starmer to offer his
Buckingham
congratulations and to
Palace.
concede that he had indeed lost. What I was struck by, Laura,
Today,
listening
the
to,
5th
firstly, we should remember
Friday,
the human beings at the heart of these
July
stories. Our viewers will have different views as to whether or not they are glad to see Rishi
2024.
Sunak departing or sad to see him departing. But there spoke a human being who was acknowledging failure. So he listed, didn't he, some of the achievements of which he was proud in office, the Windsor framework, for instance, around the Brexit arrangements and Northern Ireland,
part of London.
elements of economic stability. But ultimately, politically, Laura, as we were reflecting earlier on, everything he tried in office as Prime Minister and then
Nicholas
the
Kaloko,
election
family
campaign,
man, London.
anything to revive the fortunes of his party simply did not work.
And as he makes his way up to Buckingham Palace to see the Queen, see the King, forgive me, Rishi Sunak said the public had sent a clear signal that the government must change. He heard the anger and
States of the party.
making that apology
Labour
to the
force
country, an apology
112,
to his party.
Conservative in blue
JL is at Buckingham
121,
Palace
Psalm
today
1
to
to 1.
await the Prime Minister's comments. Jane.
Lib Dem
Thank you, yes.
71
Big
and
crowds here outside
SNP.
Buckingham Palace. The outgoing Prime Minister Rishi Sunak should appear soon. It is just a short drive from where you are, Laura, at number 10, here to the palace. And this is where the constitutional element of the day begins. All the formalities, the formal handover of power. In fact, Rishi
No
Sunak
fighting.
himself has referred to it as an orderly transition. He used that phrase, and anyone was awake early this morning when he was speaking of his constituency in Richmond in North Yorkshire. He said there will be an orderly transition, and that is what the next couple of hours here at the palace is all
No
about.
stealing election.
Big crowds. That's
Like in Sierra
because,
Leone.
we have to remind people, 11 o'clock is
Mother
changing
Bill
of the
stolen
guard. It's always a big
24
tourist attraction here
24
at the palace.
April
That
2023
is
election in Sierra Leone.
what most people are here for now that the rain
They want to give power.
finally stopped here this morning.
But
of
the
course
Lord
today
will
we're talking
root
about
him up
political changing of
from
the guard
that power
army
in the name
and
of
Rishi
Jesus
Sunak.
Christ.
Cortege coming down the Mall, we can hear the whistles, we can hear the outriders just behind us here at the palace, and he will be here momentarily to, as he said, to formally offer his resignation to the king.
They do election yesterday and today they know who is the winner. No crook, no election, no results are out. Like in Sierra Leone, they say results are not out.
Because it's an important moment constitutionally.
What a crook is that?
Personally, so on a number of levels.
What a crook is that? Election, they say no results?
The Prime
No.
Minister's vehicles, the police outriders now going into the central gates of Buckingham Palace. The King himself actually only arrived at the palace, back at the palace from Windsor within the past few minutes. And the Prime Minister, the outgoing Prime Minister, going into the central gates now, where he will meet the King. Coming in, we can see his vehicles coming into the main quadrangle of Buckingham Palace here. We have our cameras where we'll be able to see the point where he meets some of the royal household staff before going to the private audience room here at the palace, where he will meet the King. He will offer his resignation and he will then leave privately. That's the interesting contrast here. He arrives through those main gates, but he actually departs Buckingham Palace from a different exit, privately, no longer as Prime Minister. And it is worth reiterating that point, isn't it? Because as he gets out of the car with his wife, this is a private meeting between the monarch and the outgoing Prime Minister. Now he is with Akshata Murthy, his wife, and there is a convention, I think, that the spouse of the Prime Minister of the day is invited in towards the end of that meeting, but the bulk of the meeting will be that. That is it. That is the last time we will see Rishi Sunak entering Buckingham Palace as Prime Minister. And then that private, intimate conversation, once the resignation has been